is K-Talk Radio, 1640 AM. I'm your host, Joji Shiraki. Our special guest is Jeff Brailio, and we are talking about market change now over the remainder of the show. We've been talking about all the eviction news that the governor's released, and so if you've missed any part of that, definitely go to our website, www.utahhomesweethome.com. Click on the social media links. We post all of these shows on YouTube, which you'll be able to access through our website. So, Jeff, okay, so maybe from an attorney standpoint or maybe from an escrow officer standpoint, what changes are you seeing right now in the market? Because I see them as a flipper and as a real estate agent. Right. What changes are you seeing in the market due to this pandemic?
We're really just beginning to see some effects.
Okay.
And really because, it kind of came in March, people had already paid their rent, people already signed purchase contracts, people were already sort of in the middle of escrow and closings. Mm-hmm. Most closings are still happening.
Okay.
Some are starting to drop out.
Okay.
If they were earlier in the process, they're more likely to drop out than if they were in the later. And it's going to be mostly buyers are going to be dropping out due to lack of qualifying for a mortgage, that maybe they lost their job.
Got it.
And they're not going to get a mortgage. Remember that so far there's nothing that changes any of the legality of contract.
Gotcha.
So if you signed a purchase agreement,
yeah,
the only way you get out of it is on certain conditions.
Right.
And so we're still seeing kind of most of them go through. The investor world is going to just shift. Mm-hmm. It's been a flipper's paradise because of appreciating home rates.
Right.
You could buy rather inexpensively, flip it, make some cash. The problem with flipping is going to be the turnaround retail sale.
Yes.
Especially if people can't qualify for mortgages, there's not going to be a retail market to sell in, and therefore prices will probably come down, and most investors are going to be shifting to more buy and hold. Mm-hmm. So investors that are financially solvent, so these are investors that prepared for this, and we've been, if you've ever talked to me, it's always about having 3 to 6 months reserves.
Yes.
In that account for vacancies and evictions and things of that nature, so that your
so important now.
And in your personal life, that you can, you and your family can survive for 6 months without income.
Yep.
Unfortunately, a lot of people don't listen to that.
Yeah.
They're going to be stuck. But if you have, if you're financially solvent, you still have your job. A lot of jobs are not coming back this is probably going to hit the middle class and lower middle class rung much harder than anybody else.
Got it.
Because of the industries that those people worked in.
Right.
If they're saying right now that 70% of restaurants, for the mom and pop restaurants, aren't coming back at all.
Oh, gosh.
Then the people that worked in the restaurant industry won't have any jobs to come back to, even though the health scare is over. Their restaurant won't come back. And so that's really we're going to have to kind of see of how that affects them, probably more so. And so the rent's going to be a bigger issue. But as far as in the investor world, if you've got a job and you can qualify for a loan and you've got some cash, it's going to be a smorgasbord of finding deals and picking up property.
Right.
A lot of investors will naturally drop out. That we saw this in 07, 08, 09, that there was this big swell of people jumping in the real estate industry. And then a year later, I'd say 80% of them are gone.
I agree.
Literally gone.
Yeah, I remember that.
We've done better with education, real estate education. We got more support, and hopefully the word's been out there. So I think the real estate investors will stay strong. And kind of what I wanted to talk about, I mentioned this earlier before we went on air, is how the economy works and what we call multipliers.
Okay.
So here's, I have my housekeeper. Comes once a month.
Okay.
Right?
Yep.
I could, look at my budget and say, okay, during these economic times, I'm going to eliminate certain expenses. And I think every family should do that.
Yes.
Make sure your family's protected first.
Yes.
Right? But can I afford my housekeeper?
Right.
Yes, I personally can. I can afford that. And so when I pay her, let's say she comes and cleans and I pay her $100.
Yes.
That's what a $100 bill goes into her hand.
Yes.
Then what I've done is I've just added $100 to the economy.
Right.
She then goes to the grocery store.
Right.
And she buys fruits and vegetables.
Yeah.
So she hands that $100 over to the store clerk.
Yes.
So she contributed another $100 to the economy.
Right.
The store then pays their employees.
Right.
Right, to work the checkout line or stock the shelves.
Yes.
So they pay that $100 out in a wage to their employee.
Right.
Those employees then go to the Gap.
Yep.
And they buy a T-shirt and they hand that $100 over to the Gap.
Yes.
And they've added another $100 to the economy.
Yes.
Gap then pays their employees that same $100 bill.
Yeah.
And then they go out and they go to a restaurant.
Right.
So my $100 bill actually created $500 worth of economic growth.
Got it.
In the marketplace.
Got it.
Now that assumes that $100 bill gets spent 100% every time. And that's what some people put money into savings.
Yeah.
Some goes to taxes, etc. But that's what we call the multiplier effect of money.
Got it.
So the more money, and that's one of the reasons the federal government is trying to get money into the hands of people.
Got it.
Because if they put $350 billion,
yes,
I think that's about the amount going to direct payments to taxpayers.
Okay.
That hundreds of billions of dollars then gets spent at stores.
Got it.
Then pay employees, and that becomes 700 billion, a trillion, 1.2 trillion, etc. That's the multiplier effect of money.
Got it.
So it's about continuing to provide that economic stimulus where you can.
Gotcha.
And the more you do, the greater effect it's going to have on the economy. And as real estate investors in particular, and those in the real estate industry, again, I said this earlier, if we're not greedy, and we're looking out for others, and I think we're going to talk a little about hard money lenders, and if we're all working together and make this happen, we can have a multiplier effect on our local real estate market. And we can actually do a tremendous amount to help bolster up our market by, if we work with other investors, let's say you're an investor, you've got a rental property, your tenants had to leave, you've struggled, personally you're in financial straits, you've lost your job, you can't make that mortgage payment on that rental property.
Right.
You could let it go to foreclosure, and that's going to make things worse.
Got it.
Or you can find another investor who might come in and save the day.
Right.
They might be able to pick it up from you, seller financing.
Yep.
They might be able to partner with you.
Yep.
And inject some cash into it. Because remember, everyone has a different situation.
Yes.
Just because you're struggling doesn't mean everybody is struggling.
Right.
And if those who are not struggling are in it for the good of everybody and not like, oh, I'm going to start soaking up all these properties, I'm going to wait till rock bottom price, pick them up pennies on the dollar, and I'm going to become a bazillionaire.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
That's going to have a negative effect, and it's going to make everything worse for everybody else.
Right.
And you.
That makes sense.
If you work with other investors, you work with your tenants, that's why we're saying work with tenants, you can keep things afloat and you can keep the economy moving, and it'll be much less dramatic if we're all kind of working into this together. And I truly believe we can do it.
Absolutely. Wow. Very, very valuable information. Very well said. I loved how you described all that.
Oh.